Invisible, na?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start. Uh, इन मतलब आज बेसिकली अपन क्या देखने वाले हैं ना कि how we solved breadcrumbs in our platform. It was a long thing that we were like avoiding from a couple of years due to certain restrictions, and finally like we have solved it. So वही देखने वाले हैं. So before jumping, like हल्का एक्सप्लेन कर देते हैं सब चीज़ क्या है एग्जैक्टली. What were the product requirements, like what were the feasible solutions that we got via product, and that after that like we will move to technical solutions जिसमें कोड वगैरह देख के सब देख लेंगे कि कैसे किया हुआ है. So breadcrumbs basically solve like two purpose. One is discoverability, one is navigation. Now discoverability wala part like nowadays like more than 90% of the platforms they use discoverability wala part. It is basically used like to show that where the item is present in the web page, like in which category the item is present. For example, like if we see this mobile phone, we can see that it's present in Redmi mobiles category, and this is again present in some other category. So this is kind of a static. So discoverability breadcrumbs, like these are like static breadcrumbs which remain same throughout the platform for a single page. What we solved the navigation part. This is basically used when a single page can be like we can move to a single page via multiple routes. So in that case, navigation wala part this comes handy. So what this solves, like it shows the user navigation instead of just a static path. And as I said, like it's useful when a single item is present in more than one categories. Now the pros and cons, as you can see, discoverability doesn't solve navigation. Like we if we have a use case where a single item can be present if in more than one categories, then this won't be solving the use case. Now it was a bit tedious to implement the navigation wala part, and if we use browser history to solve it, like it can mix and create recursive entries in the browser history. So this is the basic cons of the navigation wala part. So what was our requirement? So like we have a use case where we have like a homepage, and from a homepage we can access like learning paths can contain courses, sessions, and it can contain more learning paths, so it can go up to n levels. It contains a library page. It's basically a collection of you can say courses, learning paths, and from here we can like go to sessions also. Now sessions can also contain courses, learning paths as pre-works and post-works. So as we can see that the course, session, and learning path, these all three can be accessed via like these three different routes. Now when we are visiting a course or a learning path directly from homepage, there we don't show a breadcrumb. Whereas if we visit via library page, uh, suppose we visit a course X, so we will show a breadcrumb like library course X. If there is a learning path, path X, which contains course X and path X, on visiting course X, we show this kind of breadcrumb, library path X, course X. So this is basically showing the navigation, like how we landed on a certain page instead of just like where it lies on our platform. Same goes for session. Like if we have a course, we will show session course. If we have a path which contains course, so session path X and course X. So this was the basic requirement. Apart from this, like there in library, there are like multiple categories. Uh, Let me show you. Meet. Yeah, so here there are like multiple categories, and within a single page also like we need to show breadcrumbs. So across different page we need to show breadcrumb, and within a single page also we need to show breadcrumbs. So the implementation is kind of bit was bit of kind of tedious, but like we have optimized it. So let's see. For first of all, let's see like what are the product solutions that we thought before like solving properly the breadcrumbs. Let's take an example. Like there, suppose there is a path, engineering onboarding path, which contains like certain courses, GitHub Basics, JavaScript, Express Mongo, and there is a front-end onboarding path which contains like the same thing. And just assume for now that like the user has already enrolled in this two. Okay, so the expectation, like whenever we visit the GitHub basics, the breadcrumb should show library engineering onboard path GitHub basics, right? But think on the user perspective, like if I have completed GitHub basics here, it automatically means that I have also completed the same thing in the front end onboarding path, right? So the user should be provided with some information that like this thing already lies here also, since I have already enrolled in front end onboarding path, but we were not showing any kind of information. So for the first solution that we thought of, like we will show that a certain course, it lies in which other paths or which other like containers. So the first solution that we thought was that we will show like this library, then we will show like what are the like containers of this course, and then we will show the course name. But the major pitfall of this solution was that suppose there is one more path like backend onboarding path which contains engineering onboarding path, and there is a DevOps onboarding path which also contains engineering onboarding path. So like, and if the user has enrolled this two also, so after hovering on this, it will again show this, and this can go up to n levels. So this was getting a bit messier, so we avoided this solution. But like uh, we are on with the idea that the user, we need to show the user like what are the like containers in which this course will fall. So we will be providing a info somewhere around the course, like this, if you complete this, it will affect this and this path or these sessions. So this was one solution, but due to these restrictions, we kept the this solution only, that we will show with the simple navigation path. Okay, so there were like basically two approaches by which like we started. The first approach directly VS Code में ही देख लेते हैं. VS Code दिख रहा? हेलो.
हाँ.
ओके. Yeah, so first approach में basically what we did ना, there was a state known as like breadcrumbs, which was used to show the breadcrumb data. डायरेक्टली यहीं पे देख लेते हैं. सो वी वर मेंटेनिंग लाइक फोर स्टेट्स. द फर्स्ट स्टेट वाज यूज्ड टू शो द ब्रेड क्रम, like the breadcrumb which is shown here, we were saving it in session storage. So this contained like the basic details such as what is the ID, what's the page title, and what is the path and resource type. Now from this we computed this breadcrumb. Apart from that, we maintained a history, like each page has a unique identifier. Like this is a path page, the unique identifier will be path ID. So against that path ID, we stored basic informations like what is the ID of the page, what was the last active ID, like from where I have came, like from where I have accessed this page. So that will be in the last active ID. Page title, usme we stored the name, like what's the name of path or what the name we want to show to the user. Path, uh, path means the URL. And resource type, we needed to show the icon, like there are like multiple type of contents that we have. So for each and every content we need to show different icons. For that we have maintained resource type. So breadcrumb history was used for that purpose. Now previous route was used, it's basically kind of a stack of like the way we are visiting a page. Like if you go to library, path, then again a path, then course. So it's just kind of a stack which stores all the unique identifiers. Apart from that, we had a memory kind of thing. Memory is used, like suppose we have visited this path via this route. So we have already computed the breadcrumb, like via some logic that, yeah, for this page, this is the breadcrumb. So we maintained the memory to like avoid the computation again. Like if we visit the same page again, we will directly show from the memory that, yeah, this is the breadcrumb. Now, this was a very nice solution, but like it has many edge cases. Now, the first edge case is like long breadcrumbs. Now suppose we go on storing, navigating via multiple routes to the same page again and again. So the history part, the previous route part, there were like multiple entries, and here we saw like many entries. Like let's take an example. If we go to session page, and from session page, if we visit the same thing again, right? Path within a path. Suppose there is a session which has a pre-work path within a path. So again, when we visit library page, it will have all the entries like library, path within a path, then again session, and path within a path, then again, like there were like a kind of gibberish data. So to avoid that, like we had to again then differentiate based on module. Like library is a different module, so compute all the breadcrumbs within a library. Session is a different module, so whenever you like go from library to session, clean all the breadcrumbs. So we needed to do all such kind of handlings. Uh, so it was a bit of like tedious. Now there were like many irregularities like when history operations were performed. Now the first thing that I would like to state is that whenever you use browser history now, due to security reasons, it doesn't tell us like what's the basic data of the page. Like it just provides us with basic functions like go history.back, such kind of things, but it will not say like what's the basic details of page. For that reasons, if we create your own history, like for this id, these are the things. So consider use case when like you are from like you are visiting library, then this path, then again the path within a path. Now from here, if you perform a back operation, history back operation, what it will do, it will create a new entry here, which will be like same. So the new entry will be kind of like this. So the new entry will be kind of this, although it's already present here, right? So what this will lead, this will lead that when here we maintain a last active id, so for this element the last active id will be this, and for this element the last active id will be this. Now whenever we are making breadcrumbs, we see the last active id. Now to like to show the previous breadcrumb of this, we need the last active id. So it will become a recursive loop, like there will be tons of entries due to a single history back operation. So to avoid this, like we had to perform some checks that whenever this element is already present in the stack, it means that uh, we have already visited the page, so no need to add it again, to avoid the recursive loops. But that wasn't like a proper solution. See, it broke. So apart from that, like we were not sure like when to save data to session storage. So as you can see, we are saving data here. But if we go on a certain page, like for example, if we go on a path page or course page, we need to save certain data such as page title. Now page title will be present only when the API call has been performed successfully. For example, in this case, we query for the path details for this ID, and when we get the details, then only we can save here. Now, between that phase, if we perform like any unexpected operations, this can lead to this corrupt data, right? So this was also like a drawback, recursiveness, as I have mentioned. Already visited breadcrumbs. Yeah. Now, suppose there is a use case. Now, since we are maintaining memory, like for this ID, I have already like computed the breadcrumb. Like for this entry, we will be having like 2 to 3 breadcrumbs. Uh, Now, suppose I visit this path directly via library. So the breadcrumb should be library and this path name. But due to this memory wala part, what we faced, it would be showing library path within a path, and then again this. Since we are showing from memory. So this also wasn't if we remove memory, it would solve it, but the computations will be done again and again. So there were like many issues every time. So we avoided this approach, and we moved on to a new approach. Now, since we had already done this, we saw that we have basic data. Like we have a basic data ready in our session storage. For example, for this page, what are the necessary things like ID, page title, path? We had all these things. but a last active id was the culprit that was causing like many bugs, recursive loops and all that kind of things. To avoid that, what we did, uh, मीट क्यूए पे होगा डेटा, मीट मीट फटा हुआ है क्या अभी? ओके ठीक है।
Working in it.
स्लो है थोड़ा। Yep. So in the new approach, what we did, like we moved to URL. We what we did, we were basically storing the unique identifiers in the URL, and this BL is like breadcrumb lookup. Uh, like we have visited this page via library page, so the first entry will be of all content. Now, if we visit any path again, the entries will again be like appended to the same parameter, like BL all contents, then the previous path ID and so on. So what benefit this we had already maintained, we can grab the information that which sorry, what is the basic data of that URL. So here like we are having the all the info of the set of that unique page. So from here like we can make the breadcrumb very simply. So इसका अगर ये देखते हैं कोड वाइज, तो इसमें तो पहले अपने पास चार चार स्टेट्स थे, like four states we need to maintain like all, and whenever like we change module we needed to clear all the state variables. So ये उतना सही नहीं था। अभी क्या है कि अपने पास एक ही स्टेट वेरिएबल है ब्रेड क्रम्स का, और ये हिस्ट्री जो है वो बेसिकली डेटा ही स्टोर करता है। तो ये काफ़ी क्लीन हो गया है यूआरएल में डालने से। यहाँ पे चीज़ें अपने पास मतलब सारी चीज़ें अपफ्रंट हैं, और ये पहले जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन किया था उससे ये अपने को मिल ही जाता है। तो इससे काफ़ी इजिली अपन ब्रेड क्रम्स बना लेते हैं। सो इसका मेजर ड्रॉबैक ये है कि अपने को जितने भी लिंक्स हैं, हर एक लिंक पे अपने को ये लॉजिक डालना पड़ता है कि भाई पुराना वाला ब्रेड क्रम्ब क्या है वो अपेंड करो क्वेरी पैरम्स में। सो ये एक इसका मेजर पिटफॉल है। जबकि पुराने अप्रोच में ये बेनिफिट था कि हम लोग यहाँ पे लिंक्स पे नहीं डाल रहे थे, जब भी मतलब पेज चेंज हो रहा था, पेज लेआउट चेंज हो रहा था, तो फिर हम डायरेक्टली कंप्यूट कर रहे थे डेटा। तो वहां पे ऐसे मैनुअली लिंक्स नहीं डालना पड़ रहा था, तो उसका एक वो बेनिफिट था। तो कोड वाइज देखे तो काफी सिंपल कोड हो गया है। यहाँ पे हमने एक क्वेरी पैरम रख लिया है जिसमें कि हम ब्रेड क्रम लुकअप स्टोर करते रहते हैं, और ब्रेड क्रम हिस्ट्री में बस एंट्री डालते रहते हैं। जब भी हम पेज लेआउट में कुछ भी लेआउट चेंज होता है, तो हम क्या करते हैं, अगर वो मतलब टाइटल है और पेज आईडी है, मतलब कि अपना एपीआई कॉल्स कंप्लीट हो गए हैं। राइट, टाइटल क्योंकि तभी आएगा जब एपीआई कॉल्स कंप्लीट हो गए हैं मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस में। तो इस केस में क्या करेंगे, हम सेव कर लेते हैं डेटा, हिस्ट्री में सेव कर लेते हैं सेशन स्टोरेज में। और फिर जैसे ही हिस्ट्री में सेव होता है, ब्रेड क्रम्ब अपने आप क्या करता है, ये स्टेट वेरिएबल चेंज होता है तो वो कंप्यूटेशन होके डायरेक्टली दिख जाता है। और ब्रेड क्रम्ब्स को हमने हेडर में ही डाल दिया है यहाँ पे। तो अब एक अलग से हुक बन गया अपना, जो कि जब भी ब्रेड क्रम्ब्स आता है कंप्यूट करके यहाँ पे एक अपने को नई हाइट दे देता है, जिससे कि हम यहाँ पे कंटेनर हाइट चेंज कर सकते हैं। तो वो भी दिक्कत नहीं है कि हमने जो एक ऑलरेडी कर रखा है चेंजेस की 100 VH माइनस 6.1 REM, तो वो वाला चेंज भी यहाँ पे इफेक्ट नहीं होगा। ये हाइट डायनेमिकली आती है, और 100 VH माइनस दैट डायनेमिक हाइट इफ ब्रेड क्रम इज प्रेजेंट, तो वो वाला हाइट लेना है। ब्रेड क्रम नहीं प्रेजेंट है तो डिफॉल्ट 6.1 वाले हाइट लेना है। तो यही था अप्रोच, काफ़ी अभी सिंपल हो गया है। यूआरएल में स्टोर करना है और डेटा यहाँ पे ऑटोमेटिकली चेंज होते रहता है। तो किसी पेज में अगर आपने को अगर ब्रेड क्रम्ब डालना है तो व्हाट वी नीड टू डू इन पीयूज पेज लेआउट, यहाँ पे जस्ट एक आपको पेज आईडी पास करनी पड़ेगी, यूनिक आइडेंटिफायर फॉर द पेज, एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट लाइक शो ब्रेड क्रम्ब करके एक ये है, वो ट्रू करना होगा। बस ये करेंगे तो इस पेज में ऑटोमेटिकली ब्रेड क्रम्स दिखने लगेंगे, कुछ ऐसा एडिशनल लॉजिक अपने को नहीं लिखना है। हाँ, एक और चीज है कि कंप्यूट एंड सेट ब्रेड क्रम्स, ये बताना पड़ता है अपने को, कंप्यूट एंड सेट ब्रेड क्रम्स। सपोज फॉर एग्जांपल कोर्स वाले पेज में अगर दिखाना है तो एक यूज इफेक्ट है, उसमें यूनिक आइडेंटिफायर भेजना होगा कि भाई इस पेज के लिए मेरे को ब्रेड क्रम्ब दिखाओ। तो ये क्या करेगा, कंप्यूट कर लेगा और ब्रेड क्रम्ब सेट कर देगा और ऑटोमेटिकली हेडर में वो रिफ्लेक्ट करने लगेगा। तो यप, यही है